What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the April 15, 2023 edition of the SmackDown LowDown, recapping what I thought was a very enjoyable SmackDown on Friday, a lot like last week. We had Jackie Redmond and Matt Camp in the studio, per usual. They opened up the episode recapping the Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, Sonya Deville, Chelsea Green segment from SmackDown, where they set up next week's WWE Women's Tag Team Championship clash. We hear from, with Megan Morant, Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green backstage, where a lot like, I think it was either Raw Talk this week, maybe last week, I think it was this past week, where they just insulted Byron the entire time. They did the exact same thing this week, where they just insult Megan Morant. And it kind of makes sense, too, because they spent that time on Raw Talk complaining about how, why weren't we in that number one contenders match the night after WrestleMania? So they came out here demanding an opportunity, so it makes sense. It's funny how they can come out and that's their whole gimmick, is complaining. They can come out and complain about not getting an opportunity and then getting that opportunity, but yet fucking Liv and Raquel had to earn their opportunity by coming number one contenders. And that's not like a character thing. Like, Becky and Lita were women's tag team champions that were baby faces. So if Liv and Raquel confronted them, I'm sure they would have just accepted. So it just doesn't make sense, but whatever. That's merely nitpicking. So they spend their time, insulting Megan. They call Megan, Liv, Raquel a bunch of normies, and that was about it. Yes, they called them fucking normies. Matt Camp questioned which team can gel quicker. That'll be the question next week when they clash for the tag team titles. They hype up Trish Stratus explaining her actions, coming up on Raw this Monday. They recap Xavier Woods' latest win over LA Knight, setting up next week's Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Xavier Woods. They hype up that match. We hear from Xavier Woods backstage here on the show with Megan Morant, and he cuts this great promo. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. He speaks about how he has, he respects the industry, how Gunther looks at Xavier like a joke. I mean, the guy fucking came into the segment last night backstage with a fucking trombone. I love Xavier, but the trombone shit is just terrible at this point. So obnoxious. And he's supposed to be a babyface. But Gunther's whole thing is, you don't respect the industry. And Woods' argument is, of course I do. Because I've put so much passion, time, and effort into this company. And Gunther has never faced anyone like me before, he says. I've created all of my opportunities. Anything I've ever gotten in my career/life, I created that opportunity. He didn't say it here, but whether it was like the G4 gig or winning King of the Ring or New Day, he and others like, Big E and Kofi created those opportunities for himself or for themselves as opposed to being handed that stuff. And he's also accomplished a lot out of wrestling. He says, I'm probably better than a lot of your favorites, and I only give this industry half of my time. I've got a degree, I've got my PhD, I do other video game stuff, I run my own YouTube channel with millions of subscribers and stuff like that. So he's very confident going into that match next week. He's determined. He's got his sights set on becoming champion, a singles champion for the first time in WWE. And he said he doesn't need luck when Megan Morant wishes him luck. So I thought this was great stuff. One of the better promos I've heard on the show in a while. Definitely check it out. It was really, really good. Matt Camp says he kind of backs up what Xavier said in saying that he's the hardest working man. No disrespect to anyone else in WWE, but he's the hardest working man in WWE today. And he's very much looking forward to that match, as I am as well. They recap the Damian Priest-Santos Escobar matchup, where Priest beat Escobar in a singles competition. Matt Kim questions what's next for this rivalry, what's going to happen with Damian and Bad Bunny and Ray and the LWO versus Judgment Day. It's very obvious what's next, and that's a tag team match at Backlash, almost at a WrestleMania Backlash, with Bad Bunny and Rey Mysterio taking on Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio. It only makes sense. They recap Shinsuke Nakamura's return to the ring for the first time since November on this show, for the first time since January in general, where he faced and beat the Great Muta. So here he beat Madcap Moss in like a fucking minute or two, and they recap that squash and the Karrion Kross promo indicating he will be Shinsuke's first foe upon coming back, which is cool. They hype up the WWE Tag Team title rematch for SmackDown in 2 weeks, the WrestleMania Night 1 rematch between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens against the Usos, happening on SmackDown in 2 weeks. They also recap the Matt Riddle Solo Sikoa main event from SmackDown last night, where Solo picked up the victory. We hear very briefly from the Usos and Solo Sikoa backstage on this show with Megan Morant. And, Solo doesn't say anything. We heard from him on SmackDown, so I can't really say him. But the Usos go back and forth and hyping up the tag team title rematch for SmackDown in 2 weeks. That was pretty much the only reason why this existed. And Matt Camp brings up how the Usos are going into this match for the first time in years as the challengers not as the champions. So that hunger may work in their favor. So we'll see. Jackie and Matt also hype up the draft in 2 weeks. They show the complete roster of everyone eligible. No one inactive was in the graphic, like Randy Orton wasn't in the graphic. Charlotte may have been in there. I think she was. I mean, she's currently inactive, but I'm not sure from a storyline standpoint why she wouldn't be in the graphic. She was on the show 2 weeks ago at WrestleMania. Edge was in the graphic. Brock was in the graphic. So it'll be interesting to see who's drafted and who's not, because I don't think Charlotte, they would draft her, but she wouldn't be. I mean, maybe. I don't know. They've done that before. But typically, they only draft people who are on the show every week right now. So they may not draft. Like Edge, I don't think is on the show right now. I don't know when he's coming back. So I don't know if he would get drafted. I'm not exactly sure. He may just show back up on Raw at some other point in the next month or two. I don't know. But that was it for the SmackDown Lowdown for April 15th, 2023. Quality show, like I said. If you haven't already watched it, please go out of your way to check out the Xavier Woods promo. He was excellent. We also heard from Chelsea and Sonya. That was whatever. They're entertaining, but they didn't really say anything of note. And the Uso stuff, they said nothing of note, but getting the Usos and Solo here on the show is somewhat newsworthy by SmackDown Lowdown standards. Thank you guys for checking out my review. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Slowly but surely getting back in the swing of things from Mania weekend. There's still so much to upload and do. I apologize for the delay in a lot of stuff. I'm hoping to be back on track. I can't even say within the week. It's going to take some time. There's a lot of stuff I still need to catch up on, so just bear with me as I always say. Have a great one, guys. Enjoy the weekend. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.